It is 6:30 p.m. on May. It's 6:30 p.m. on May 6, 2026. Anson, please do the roll.
Okay, when I call your name, just please respond. Zane?
Here.
Okay, Watson?
Here.
Ellen? Okay.
Here.
Okay. Bozel? Whitney? She's not here. Okay, Dave?
Here.
Okamoto? Fields? Okay, it's not here. Lee?
Here.
Okay, you're here. Okay, Koff? Okay. Tom? Okay, Moylan?
Yeah.
Okay, Sophia? Okay, Kuano? Patty? Okay, she's here. Control. Okay. Fox?
Here.
Oh, okay. 11. Oh, I mean, Ms. Sharkey? Here. Okay. Carter?
Here.
Okay. Freiberg? Okay. That's 13. We have quorum.
All right, thank you, Anson. Going to our first responder monthly reports. Before we start that, I just want to note that due to time concerns, one of our items in a presentation on Hawaii's environmental review process by Tom Eisen has been postponed. So if you're here for Tom Eisen's presentation, that's postponed, but for now we'll get to first responders. Honolulu Fire Department, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Chris Edwards, HFD, Mānoa Fire Station number 22. I'll go over our response statistics and our fire safety tip for the month. Statistics for April. We had 1 nuisance fire and 5 activated alarms with no fire, 38 medical incidents, 1 mountain rescue, and 1 hazardous material incident. And I just want to note that if you need or want details on any of these calls, you can visit the fire response search tool on the HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov, and you'd find those under the news and info tab and get more information about any of the calls that you have questions about. Safety tip this month is about wildfire prevention and preparedness. We're entering our period of increased wildfire risk with dry conditions, tall grass, and shifting winds. 1 spark is all it takes. Most wildfires are human-caused and preventable. Take action with these tips. Clear dry brush and vegetation around your home. Never park on dry grass. Hot exhaust can ignite it. Avoid activities that create sparks or heat during dry, hot, windy weather. Stay aware of weather and fire conditions. And again, for more information, you can visit fire.honolulu.gov and hawaiiwildfire.org.
All right, any questions or comments for the fire department? Anyone in person? If so, just raise your hand. Anyone online? All right, seeing and hearing no comments or questions, thanks for coming in. We'll see you again next month.
Thank you.
Going now to the next item, item B on Roman numeral 2, Honolulu Police Department, HPD. Please go ahead.
Hi, aloha. Lieutenant Taro Nakamura from District 7. Okay, these are stats for April as compared to the previous month. Motor vehicle thefts were 14 as compared to 19. Burglaries 4 as compared to 3. Thefts in general 16 as compared to 12. And UEMVs, which is theft from auto, 2 as compared to 4. This out of total calls for service of 5,614. Further statistical information can be found at honolulupd.org. And then our safety tip for the month is I just attached a flyer to you folks. There's a barcode where you can scan in if you need alerts and stuff on your phone. That's a quick and easy way to do it. Unfortunately, the way they set up the thing is you have to subscribe to it, but it's another alternate way where you can get emergency alerts if needed. Yeah. And that's our safety tip for the month.
All right, any questions or comments for the Honolulu Police Department? Oh, go ahead, Member Fox.
Hi there. Hi there. I'm going to bring up the same subject I always have brought up before, and that is we need to track moped theft, particularly at the university in Lower Manoa. I've had so many students come because my house is right across the street from the university, and I'm out there working and whatever, and they know I'm on the board. And they come over and they're just frustrated because kids just come here from Connecticut or whatever and buy their moped for $1,000 plus, and all of a sudden it's gone in a week. The program that we used in Long Beach, California, when I was on the police commission was very simple and very effective. We would actually ask the people to respond and saying, my moped was stolen. The police would respond, and we would put a geographic pin on wherever that stolen by my moped was from, right? And we built a statistical map, a geographic map. And we knew, since most of these things were being stolen by homeless people, it was true, no offense to anybody, that they could only go so far. And we found that there was always a center where the chop shop is, in the middle of a circle of thefts. And it was very common sense. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel. And the police could actually start targeting that block that we found was center of this mess. And invariably, we found the chop shop. And we arrested the people doing the chop shop. Did they move business elsewhere? Yes, but we slowed down the mess. And eventually, after a year's service, the moped theft basically stopped in Long Beach. We had a good 9 months
Sorry, Member
of
Fox, just
nothing.
looking for time.
Thank
Thank-
you.
Thank you. Can I, Chair?
Hold on, let the lieutenant respond and we'll call on you.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't hear a question in there, but we do some. I'm not even gonna go there.
Okay, that's okay, Lieutenant. Sorry. I think Lisa Carter was trying to speak, just for the future, if you want to speak, I got to see a raised hand, so either
I don't
raise
know.
your hand electronically or raise your,
I'm
yeah, there
on-
you go. Okay,
I
great, go
have
ahead.
to- I have to learn how to do this. What I want to ask of the moped question brought it up. I live in Subdistrict 4 on Marquess, and on Seaview, which is the cross street that hits over to, going, heading Malca. There's a pack of those guys dressed all in black with the black face masks and everything. And I don't say now which house they're in, but it's one of the monster homes there. So please have your police check that out. What they're doing is joyriding around. It sets off all of our alarms. Our car alarms are going off. And what if we weren't home to turn that off, right? So please check that out and don't forget about them. They're day and night. Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks, Member
I'm
Carter.
sorry, Lisa. Where was that? You came in a little bit choppy, so
Oh, sorry.
no.
It's Seaview, I think is the name. It's the top of Marquess, the real steep street. Oops, I'm too close. The one that hits and it crosses over to the other Honeywell and going toward, the business college, right? So it's that street, the one where the
Okay.
foundation's on. So there's a couple monster homes there. That's all I'm saying. And I don't want to say it, we're public and everything. So just check it out. Allegedly, there's some two-wheelers that hang out there. I don't know, when they're all dressed, and they do the two-wheeler and they go really, really loud. And I've seen them. I've literally seen a pack of them go through the intersection of Wilder and Punahou, right there, with about 50 cars freaking out. And they just go through and they run reds just for the fun of it. And this is a problem. They're teenagers. They're thin. You can
Yeah.
see they're not large people.
If you do see that, or when you see that, please call 911 and we'll send an officer to that area. also.
I'm a biker. I bike a bicycle. So
Uh-huh.
that's how I see so many things.
Oh,
It's
I see.
insane. So yeah, it's nothing that you can, they're gone in less than 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty with us. We have to catch them in the act.
I just think I know where they live.
Well, definitely.
So,
I'll definitely let the day watch. Is this more during the day or during the night?
night, day.
All hours. Okay.
No, I mean, I work, so it only affects me at night, but I just
Okay.
was, I just took the day off today to go do an appointment, and they did it. I saw the guy leave Honeywell, circle around, go up Marquez, do a pop a wheelie while I was at the bus stop. Like literally, the guy's in a helmet with you can't see who these people are. And then he went up my street, and I heard the alarms go off from the bus stop. I could hear them. So that
Sure.
I don't want to talk too much about it because retribution.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I see. Yep.
Gazi, I just have a really quick question for the
You need the microphone. Microphone.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. So I just was crossing from the university at Miley Way over to the other side of University Avenue a couple of days ago after going to the bookstore. It was rush hour about 5 or something, and the university was like a freeway. And I just wanted to let you know, I tried to make calls to complain that the crosswalk metal thing that you press was just completely frozen. So it wasn't operating, and people were having to cross without having an operating walk light. But it was operating on the other side of the road. I don't
Yeah,
know
I'll
why
have
they get frozen. They seem to get frozen all the time. I don't know if there's something the city can do to prevent that from happening so often, because the light doesn't turn green and indicate walk. And that's part of what alerts drivers, that's one of the things that alerts drivers that there's a crosswalk there and they shouldn't be going
Sure.
through.
That's a dangerous intersection. That doesn't fall directly within the purview of the police department, but I'll send an officer there and we'll check it out. And that's city and county street traffic lights. But we'll definitely check on it and let the street light guys know.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, and I see two people from the audience. We're going to call on them, then we're going to need to move on for time. So first, the gentleman, in the black shirt.
I was just wondering about the you guys passed the helmet law for the mopeds, and like I'm a Lyft driver, so I drive all around all the time, and like 9 out of 10 people aren't wearing helmets, and you know what I mean, like for my peace of mind, because I'm driving and like I'm gonna be the one that'd be getting into the accident with them. It'd be nice to see like them getting ticketed or something so that they start wearing their helmets.
Yes. The law was passed, and then you do need to wear a helmet when riding a moped or any motorized bicycle for that matter. That law was passed, so we're in the education and enforcement stage of that, and
I heard that you guys like have less arrests than you guys did before you guys passed that law for the helmet thing.
Okay, so going to Brett Kurshige, and then we're going to need to move on for time.
Hi, Brett Kurshige, Mānoa resident. Just wanted to ask if you happen to know roughly how many HPD calls you get from Mānoa for rooster noise, because we noticed there was an HPD unit that responded last night near our house. We live along 3340 East Mānoa towards the cemetery. And it was rooster crowing noise complaint. Just wanted to get a sense of if you're seeing more of this in Mānoa. Thank you.
We do get, like you said, we do get calls. I work at night. We do get calls for animal noise. Not very, I don't have an exact number, but at least a couple times a month for Mānoa, which is nothing compared to if you worked out in the country. But yeah, that's definitely a annoyance. I'd hate to live on Kauai.
Okay, and I saw one more hand. This is for real, the last person we're calling for this item. Member Kawano, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Lieutenant. Regarding the moped complaints, and I always wanted to ask, I noticed because I live near by university, so I see a lot of perhaps UX student. I've often seen more than one person in a moped. Is that legal? I mean, I see that
Absolutely
all the
not.
time, and I
Absolutely
okay,
not. And I've seen the
that
worst
almost every
accidents.
day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mopeds are not designed for two people, and you're overstressing the brakes, the suspension, the engine, everything. I mean, we're all we were all young once upon a time, but that's dangerous. That's flat out dangerous, and that's a pet peeve of mine. If I see that, I'm gonna stop that person.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I see that all the time, so I thought maybe it is.
Yeah.
Um, pull over and ticket if an officer was that.
Yes, it's a monetary citation.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Lieutenant. We'll see you again next month.
Chair, did you want me to respond to that letter thing,
Oh, sure. If you had a response.
or it kind of? I guess last month there was a question brought by a board member, in reference to a letter about green waste in the river. But upon reading the letter, which was written by Mr. Scott Snyder, I guess, the letter answers the question itself. It's a difficult issue, but the root of it is that that kind of enforcement and investigation enforcement is done by the Department of Facility Maintenance. So you can refer your questions over to them. That would be the best way to answer that question. Or just, I mean, this is a really, really well written letter. I would suggest people just read the letter and then take action as a community, as a board, if you wanted to do that itself.
Department of Facilities and Maintenance. Okay. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Yeah.
We'll,
Yeah,
I'll pass it
he
along to
actually
him.
refers them. He's gone to them. They've taken action in the past, and they can take action now and in the future. So perhaps you could ask them to pay a visit to whatever house in question that you know, to the owner of that house in question.
Okay. I will talk to Mr. Snyder about his letter and give him the information that you updated us with. But thanks for coming in. We'll see you next month.
It's hello. Take care.
And to everyone, I'm sorry if I'm more rushed and curt than usual, but it's because we have a major resolution on the agenda. I'm trying to get us there as fast as possible because it could run pretty long. So going forward, we're going to enforce time pretty strictly here to make sure we get through to the voting items. City monthly reports. Item A, Board of Water Supply, Dominic Diaz.
Good evening, Dominic Diaz, Board of Water, and I will make this really quick because we have had no main breaks in the month of April to report. We have no active construction work in Mānoa. And that said, just a continued reminder on water conservation. You know, despite all the rain we've had in the last couple of months, we are heading into the summer months, so we want to remind people to be mindful of water use and not wasteful. You can always visit our website, borderwatersupply.com/7ways for tips on conserving water. Check your home for leaks, short showers, water your yards during the morning and evening, all the typical stuff. I'd be happy to take any questions on behalf of the Board of Water Supply at this time.
Are any questions or comments for Board of Water Supply? If so, please raise your hand. Anyone online? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you, Dominic. We'll see you again next month.
Thank you.
Going to item B on city monthly reports. Mayor Rick Blangiari's representative, Deputy Director Gavin Thornton. Please go ahead.
Yes, good evening. Gavin Thornton here on behalf of the Mayor's Office. Quite a few items to follow up on from the last meeting. First of all, I just want to share City and County of Honolulu continues cleanup and recovery efforts within the community with community, state, and federal partners following the 3 consecutive state weather systems that brought significant flooding to the island. encourage folks to go to oneoahu.org, where you can find information on reporting home damage, health and safety tips, available assistance, and ways to support impacted communities. Also encourage people to use the HNL 311 system to report any specific needs, potholes, whatever it might be. I want to express appreciation again on last meeting and all the concerns that people brought up. The great follow-up. I saw a couple of letters go in sharing those concerns with the mayor, with managing director. I myself put together a memo after the last meeting and shared that. It went to Department of Facilities Management, Department of Emergency Management. So I know that there's an awareness of those concerns. Board member Fox last month requested, asked if I could try to arrange a meeting with the director of Department of Facilities Management. And I spoke with him. He's agreed to that meeting. So someone will be reaching out to board member Fox about that. It might make sense to have other folks join so that, you know, I know there were a lot of concerns that folks had. DFM wasn't able to respond to the questions that I forwarded to them. They said they need to defer to next month. So that meeting might be a good venue. But let me quickly go through the questions that they were unable to provide responses to. There were questions about asking for a post-disaster analysis, a suggestion about a flood warning system for Mānoa Stream. Let's see, drainage clearage near the Chinese cemetery. More proactive, this just came up, more proactive enforcement of existing stream maintenance rules and periodic inspections and walkthroughs of Mānoa Stream. I know after that last board meeting, DFM did send folks out there to clean up the stream to prepare for what ended up not being a severe storm. And then finally, targeted stream cleaning or dredging was another recommendation that was brought up last time. DFM wasn't able to respond to any of those for this meeting, but said they would respond next month. And then two other issues were raised, not flood related. A resident asked why the Department of Transportation Services are quickly looking for a contractor for the Alawai project, despite not having a finding of no significant impact report. DTS's response is in response to feedback from the community on the proposed bridge design. DTS elected to advance this project through a design build contract to allow for alternative bridge configurations. The city issued a request for proposals, qualification for the Alawai Bridge design build project, but has not yet released the final request for proposals. The first part was issued prior to the finding of no significant impact being issued in order to provide the maximum practical time span for potential contractors to develop the alternative bridge configurations sought by the community. DTS will also be inviting federally approved consulting parties to participate in the evaluation of alternative bridge configurations received. And then the last item, resident raised concerns of the pigeon population near the transit stop at the World War II Memorial on Punch Bowl and South King Street. CSD responded, controlling pigeon populations does not fall under the jurisdiction of the city and county of Honolulu. Such matters are handled by the Hawaii State Department of Agriculture, which oversees animal control and related issues. We recommend contacting the Hawaii State Department of Ag directly for further assistance at 808-973-9560 or on their website. Thank you. That's it for my report.
All right, so I'll just note, we do have the entire topic of the flooding that's later on the agenda. We're trying to get to that, but I'll just ask, are there any questions or comments that are not related to flooding? Because again, we're going to get that later. Member Fox.
Yes, I believe that the question asked was, why are we even considering a bridge across the Alawai at this point? There was no finding, and we brought that to your attention. Your response is, oh, we're going to go get some federal help with this and we'll get requests for proposals. That wasn't the question. The question is, why are we even considering this? And we wanted to know the data that would support the idea of putting the bridge there. I don't believe that has been answered in one iota.
Okay, thank you. Apologize for the misunderstanding, but I'll make that clarification.
Okay, thank you. Going to Laura Ruby on Zoom.
Yes, thank you. Yes, you used language several times, which has come from above somewhere about the design sought by the community. The community never sought any design. Things were pushed down our throats, and they were never, nothing from zero to some kind of resolution with the community was ever sought. And I'm so sorry to say that, but when it's not your fault, but when people from above you give the exact language and use it several times, and I'm sure if we talk to the other people, they'll be using the same kind of language also. So I think you might go back to them and say, why did the reverse happen? Our request for proposals should not have come about at all. There should have been no discussion before the NEPA resolution has gone and the FONSI has been generated. So they're doing it backwards from their
Sorry,
own
Laura, gotta jump in for
process.
time. But
And,
thank
okay,
you.
just one last thing.
No,
And
no,
also there's been
we gotta move for time. Anson, mute her. No, we need to move forward. We're not going to get to the resolution.
Well, one sentence,
No, Anson, mute her.
there's no designated parkland for anything that's being taken away. Thank you.
Mr. Thornton, do you have a response to that?
Sorry, I'm not familiar with these issues. It might be best to cut out the middleman on this issue as well. And if it would be helpful, I'd be happy to try to arrange a conversation with TTS folks. But I'll relay those concerns more accurately.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thornton. And again, I apologize. We are strictly enforcing time today so that we can actually get through the substantive items on the agenda. So going out to City Councilman Scott Nishimoto's office. Is the councilman here or representative?
Hey, Keith Williams here from Councilmember Nishimoto's office. Just following up, we met with Director Albano, the Department of Facilities Maintenance, after the meeting, and presented him with Mr. Snyder's letter and some of the complaints coming from the community regarding the flooding. So he asked his department, some of the rank and file, to create a response to the letter, and they're going to get it to us by, I believe he said, the 12th of this month. So we should have something for you next month. Short and sweet. That's all for now.
Okay, thanks, Heath. And do we have any questions or comments for Heath before we move on? Anyone in person? Brett, please go ahead. Anyone online? We'll go to Brett and we'll go to Member Watson, then we're going to move forward with the agenda.
So my question was, I don't know if his office or if the mayor's office would know, but along Laurie Avenue between East Manoa and Mānoa, on one side of Laurie Avenue, there's a whole bunch of looks like professionally spray paint markings that go along what may be the wastewater area. I was wondering, what's that for? Is that for a future upcoming project? Thank you.
Gavin, you know? I don't know. I can try to find out.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't know either. I can also ask.
And Member Watson?
Thank you. My question is about
I guess they're doing a test pilot program of people putting food waste in green bins. And they're doing that in several communities. And I've just talked to residents and I agree with them that it's a really bad idea because you're going to have flies in there and maggots and rats and everything else coming into there. And people are just going to take their styrofoam plate of chicken plate lunch and just dump it in there with forks and whatever else. I mean, that's how people are going to behave. And so I think it's a really bad idea to introduce food open in a bin like that, mixed with yard waste, especially because they only
Speaking for
pick it up
time.
every other week. So it's just going to sit there rotting for 2 weeks.
And
So anyway, the community that people I've talked to think it's a bad idea. So I said I'd bring it up.
I could pass that along to Councilmember Nishimoto.
okay.
Thanks for your input.
Thank you, Heath. And I don't see any other raised hands, so we're going to keep moving for time. To state monthly report, starting with item A, Senator Carol Fukunaga.
Good evening, neighborhood board members. We distributed my report earlier this week, and I'm glad to say that we heard people from the April meeting. And so the state budget does include additional funding for some of the state emergency response agencies. I think everyone is still trying to assess the degree of damages, so I'm sure there's still a lot more work to be done. But part of what we are also encouraging people to do is to report whatever damages they may have sustained, even if those damages may be minor in nature, because having a clear record of a lot of the kind of things that happen will help us get repairs for things like the sewer, storm drains, and others that were overwhelmed during that March 23rd event. Other than that, I'm very happy to answer questions.
All right, and okay, going to member Moylan, then Fukumoto.
Shortly before the meeting, someone told me that the bill you were kind enough to author to help us do our job has somehow been cut in half, and half of it has mysteriously disappeared. Is that true? Do you know anything about this and how that would have happened?
Okay, the bill was amended in conference committee to try and address a concern that was raised by, I think, some of the people who testified before the House committee. And that particular concern had to do with if you allowed for a quorum or a majority of the quorum of members present at a neighborhood board meeting, their concern was that you would start getting down to 2 or 3 members making a decision on behalf of the board. And so I don't agree that the solution was necessarily the best solution, but I think one starting point is to really emphasize that neighborhood boards are advisory bodies of people who come together to try and solve neighborhood problems. So we want to make it as easy and as flexible as possible.
Right. And of course, it is standard parliamentary procedure that a majority of a quorum is sufficient to pass a motion everywhere except here, where someone has this idea that if you had a majority of a quorum, it wouldn't be enough. I don't know where that idea comes from, but it's crazy. So you're saying that piece is dead in your bill?
The bill, we're happy to send you a copy of the bill, that we may have voted on today in the state Senate.
Okay.
And I think parts of it are beneficial, parts of it need to be improved.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll just note that the bill has an effective date of the beginning of 2027, so we do have time to read it and see what the fine print is before it becomes effective. Member Fukumoto?
Thank you, Chair. So Senator, your newsletter does specify certain kinds of funding that went through. So is it true that all of this actually went through the legislature? They voted today and
But didn't close yet.
Oh,
We're
okay.
closing on Friday. but both houses voted on the budget. So these items are in the conference draft of the budget.
Okay, and if we want more specificity, can we call your office or call,
You can
Uh,
also ask Hector and he will relay
Okay.
it to me.
thank you very much.
Okay.
And sorry, there's a person on Zoom asking, do you know what the bill number is? The bill number for the Senate bill,
It was Senate Bill 2397.
2397. Okay, thank you, Senator. Thanks for coming in. Please stick around for the flooding discussion. But we're going to move forward to
Thank you.
item B. Representative Andrew Takuya Garrett, who I see is on Zoom.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm not able to make it there in person. Been a busy day at the legislature. We voted on about 215 bills or so. Today, it's 2 days left to go until adjournment, as Senator mentioned. So this Friday is adjournment sine die. And I know you guys are pressed for time, but I will be sending out my next newsletter in the next week or two, which will include a debrief of all the bills that I think will be of interest to the district, including a breakdown of CIP, capital improvement projects that we secured for the district, along with some grant and aid funding to support our nonprofit community. So again, in the interest of time, I'll stop there and see if you folks have any questions. Thanks, Chair.
All right, any questions or comments for the representative in person? I don't see anyone online. Member Watson, please go ahead.
Thank you, Andrew. I happened to see on the news where Ed Sniffen was doing a presentation after the floods for Wailua and Mānoa, and he mentioned that he was seeking some monies, I think 15 million from the legislature, because he was saying that the state at this point needs to dredge the streams and rivers more, even upstream and downstream, instead of just by the bridges, because he was talking about all the silt in the parts not owned by the city or by the state that filtered down. And so he was saying a one-time good dredging clean out would be helpful. And so I wondered what you knew about that, if they got the money, if they're going to do it one time, or what. So I thought I'd ask because you're a state guy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, sorry. So the budget bill is literally hundreds of pages, so I'd have to try to track down that particular area within the DOT budget. But I will do that and send an email to the chair once I get an answer regarding Director Sniffen's request for that.
Okay, thank
and I
you
can
very
advance and
much.
forward that to all the other members. Right, Anson's
Thank you,
gonna
Chair.
forward that? Anson's going to forward that. Okay, anyone else online? Okay, I don't see anyone else. Oh, Member Koff, please go ahead.
Any updates on when the Manoa pool might open up again?
Yeah, that's a city-run pool park. I know we were looking at late March, but then I think the Kona storms put a delay on that. So my last communication from the city was they were looking at late April, which we've already obviously passed, but perhaps Councilmember Nishimoto or the mayor's representative could get a definitive answer from DPR, Parks and Rec.
All right, thank you, Representative. And we're going to move on to thanks for coming in. We'll see you next month.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Going to MC, University of Hawaii Manoa, Elmer Ka'ai.
Hello, members. Elmer Kai, University of Hawaii. Today was our last day of instruction, and we start our final examinations next week. The week after, this Saturday, we start our commencement. The first one is University of Hawaii West Oahu, which is at Stan Sheriff Center. The community colleges are next week, starting on Thursday. And then Manoa's one is Saturday. We have two in the morning, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. What we do is separate the two because it's a large event. As well as in my report that I sent to everybody has kind of a timeline of what's happening. Just to let you know, we started our search for our new Manoa chancellor the last 2 weeks. We are returning back to where we have a chancellor versus a provost. A provost is someone that is in charge of the academic components of the campus. Our chancellor will take care of the whole campus, both fits both the management as well as the academic. We have 3 candidates, the current interim provost, and 2 members. And so I have that in my report. I just want to follow up on 2 requests I had. Member Fox asked about Shidlers, the lighting and alarms going off. I did follow up. They are going to double check every single night to make sure that it happens. It does happen. There's always going to be somebody there. And we do have a lot of people on campus that sometimes trigger that. And then as well as Member Sopel asked about our mediation regarding Hamilton Library during the floods. That happened in 2004. It's 22 years later. We did a lot of mediation around Hamilton, where we have a lot of drainage separate. The campus is very different now, where everything flows through the campus. But Chair, I'll stop there and answer any questions you have.
All right. Any questions or comments for Elmer? Member Fox?
Hi there.
Hi.
Thanks for following through on the light.
Welcome.
They did fix it. I'm very happy to hear that. I do have an issue. We don't have a policy clearly stated from the university regarding moped parking. The neighborhoods adjacent to the university, which I'm right across the street on University Avenue and Miley Way, I don't have any place for mopeds to park in front of my house. However, my neighbors on Miley Way have 20 mopeds parking on their front yard. They've called the police, which was useless. They've called any agency they can possibly come up with, useless. We have mopeds parked in the adjacent streets going back 2 blocks. We'd like some help from the university. Couldn't you do some sort of like a letter to the students saying, don't do this to your neighbors?
Actually, we do that every month.
Do
We
it
send
again.
it out.
This is horrible.
We try, but the students are students. They are going to do. We do this every month. We make sure we advise everybody to be great neighbors. We do have designated areas for mopeds, but mopeds are not only students, they're also everyday workers. But I get what you're saying. I'll go back and double check again.
All I'm saying is you have public safety officers at the university.
They do that every
And
day.
you know, honest to God, I've never seen one of them go outside of University Avenue and ticket these people and say, you've got to stop
can't
doing
ticket.
this.
We
Why
can't
not?
do it. Yeah, we don't have the authority. Only the Honolulu Police Department has that authority.
So should we just tow these mopeds ourselves and get rid of them? Because we'll be
Again,
glad to do that.
we don't have that authority as a.
We
public
we like to be good neighbors to you, but this is really becoming difficult.
I get it, but I would defer to Honolulu Police Department.
Useless. I'm just saying. That's what
Okay.
we're asking.
No,
you to
Member
do
Fox, no personal attacks. We're moving on. You made your point. Laura Ruby, please go ahead.
Hi, Elmer. This is Laura Ruby. One quick comment and question. One, I hope you have gotten word from the administration that any further development on the College of Ed property, especially the large green grass lawn, has been either discarded or that has been put on hold as a very unpopular very unpopular proposal for the community or for anything to do with the university.
Thank you. Actually, yes, we have put most of that on hold. So we will have. I will make sure we can have a report of where we are. But thank you, Laura.
All right, and I think I saw Amy Grace with a raised hand. Or Noel G. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Noelle Grace. Hi, Elmer. Thanks for being here. You're doing great. I wanted to just bring up a little point. I love the redesign on Dole Street that I think you guys have all made kind of to make the crossings easier for students. I was wondering if it's in UH's jurisdiction to add better like lights for those crosswalks. What happened to me recently is I was driving with my twin babies in the back seat and I kind of stopped suddenly because a student jutted out from behind a car in a designated crosswalk. So I did stop and I was rear-ended by another student from behind who was on their phone. And so I think it's kind of just obviously students are running late for class or doing whatever, but it would be really helpful to have better signage in that area to kind of warn people, and especially as it's kind of redesigned recently.
Absolutely. I'll check on that for sure.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks. And it doesn't look like we have anyone else. So thank you, Elmer. Please stick around for the flooding discussion because
I will.
people might have questions for you, but
Yep.
thank you. Going on to item G, this is Governor Josh Green's representative, Lisa Goshi. Item D, I'm sorry.
Hi, everyone. So the state continues to repair roads and infrastructure, connect impacted residents with case managers who can help navigate housing support and financial assistance. And if you or someone you know needs help, please call 211 to connect with disaster recovery services. Also, the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs developed a post-disaster insurance claims guide, an instructional video on how to file an insurance claim. So you can also contact them at 1-844-808-DCCA or visit cca.hawaii.gov for some additional claim filing tips, disaster recovery services, and assistance with insurance-related concerns. Distributed some hard copies of the governor's newsletter. It's also available at governor.hawaii.gov. That's it.
All right, any questions or comments for governor's representative in person? Anyone online, Ensign? All right, seeing here, hearing none. Thanks for coming in. Please stick around if you can. We're going to move on now to, so I think most of the people who are here for the flooding issue and the sidewalk issue. So we're going to do those two out of order and then clean up everything else. So first, we'll go to community updates. Item A, flooding in Manoa and Oahu. So since the April meeting, there have been some written communications on this issue that have been sent out. A couple of our elected representatives talked about them earlier. Firstly, there was the letter that Scott Snyder wrote and shared with our board at the April 2026 meeting, which called for better enforcement of existing laws for the streams. That got shared with Councilman Nishimoto's office, and I believe was also circulated to others in the city. Amy Grace, who's online, and several co-signers sent a letter to the governor and the mayor. The letter suggested a lot of different proposals for flood mitigation that included a policy change and infrastructure, and she can get into it further since she's online with us. And lastly, the chair, sent a letter to the state legislature and city council, basically just requested funds from the state and city budgets because that was being figured out last month to help with flooding relief and flooding mitigation. So all those letters got sent out as just a quick update, and we're going to open it for discussion. So this is open forum to discuss the flooding issue. If anyone has anything to add. Oh, and sir, can you just say your name for the record?
My name is Jason Asahi. I live on Pamoa Road. This is the third flood that we've been in, and my house got flooded 3 times. The 2004 one. From that one, we've asked if we could be zoned as a flood zone, and we were told no. And this is the third time, so like I don't know what is being done about that, because this is kind of ridiculous already at this point. Our structure can't even take it anymore.
Anyone online, Ensign? Any raised hands? All right. So I don't see any raised hands online. Oh, Elton, go ahead.
Sorry, Chair. So this is a procedural matter. You sent a letter to the state legislature and city council, and you did it on behalf of the board.
Yes, so I did send a letter in my capacity as chair to the, so specifically I sent it to the budget committee for city council, the finance committee for the state house, and the Senate Ways and Means committee in the Senate. The reason why I sent it without consulting the board and getting a vote first was because the state legislature was figuring out its budget plans in April. So if I waited till the May meeting, then it would have been a moot point and there would have been no use for the letter. So I went ahead and sent it. That's what happened.
Chair, I would have done the same thing if I were chair. However, there are emergency provisions. So you could, for example, at the last meeting, you could have asked the board if the board would approve your sending this letter, or you could have set an emergency meeting. But what I don't believe you can do is write a letter on behalf of the board without consulting the board. In other words, the board has to vote to ask you to write that letter. But I'm not making a big deal of it because I would have done the same thing, and I understand that time was of the essence. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Elton. And next time, if there's a time-sensitive matter, I will attempt to set up a emergency meeting. Any other comments from anyone in person? Questions before we move on? Anyone online? All right. In that case, we're going to move forward to the next part of the agenda. So first, I'll just ask very quickly. We have one vacancy on our board for Subdistrict 4. Is there anyone here from Subdistrict 4 who is here to fill the vacancy? If so, please raise your hand. Anyone online? Okay. All right, going now to board business. This is Roman numeral 6, item B, which is reconsideration of the sidewalk resolution. So first, while I'm announcing it, I'm going to
What
hand out.
about Manoa Banyan Court and Aria Lane in Alawai?
We're going to come back to it. I'm going to the sidewalk issue because we've gotten a lot of testimony on it, and I suspect a lot of the people who are here for the sidewalk issue specifically.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
I know there's a couple people here, and I'm not sure if they're interested in Subdistrict 4, but I don't think they understood when you announced the Subdistrict openings. Maybe you could just say that again.
Okay, so what I said earlier regarding filling vacancies is, so basically our board is divided into 4 subdistricts, and one of them is entitled to 6 members and only has 5, which means that if a person lives in that Subdistrict 4 area, and if that person has proof of their residence in the Subdistrict 4, then they could basically apply to fill the vacancy right now. So is there anyone here who knows they live in Subdistrict 4 and who has proof that they live in Subdistrict 4 who would like to volunteer to fill that vacancy? And I'm not seeing or hearing anyone, so moving. Okay, moving. Sorry, I'm hearing comments from other board members and it's disruptive. But moving on, going to item B on board business, reconsideration of the sidewalk issue. So in April of 2026, last month, our board passed a resolution urging construction of sidewalks in Mānoa. It was amended. I've handed to the board members who are here in person a copy of the version as amended. So several days after the vote, a board member contacted me and she explained that she had misunderstood the topic of the vote and requested that their vote be changed from a yes vote to a no vote. So, and in addition to that, since resetting this item for a possible change of vote or revote of the issue, there's also been a lot of testimony. I did read all the testimony. There were 14 testimonies from community members. All 14 of the testimonies were in opposition to the resolution. So I need to explain the procedure here because normally when we have a resolution, it's very straightforward. Normally we just make a motion, we have discussion, and then we vote. For this resolution, we already approved it in April, which means that first, we need to take a vote on whether we're going to revisit our decision from April and consider changing it. If that vote fails, then our decision from April stands as is, it does not change. So members who are not recognized, just stop talking so I can explain this clearly. Okay, so we're gonna have a vote on whether or not we're going to revisit our decision from April. If that vote passes, we revisit the decision and we have a new vote on it. We might keep it as is. We might decide to not approve it. However, if we have our vote on whether to return to the issue and reconsider it, and that vote fails, then the decision made last month remains as is, no change. So just to make sure everyone understands what the resolution is, I've handed out copies of the resolution. Would Member Moylan like to read the resolution?
Well, first I'd like to say, I think what you're really saying is that someone wants to make a motion to rescind, not to reconsider, there's no such thing, but a motion to rescind undoes the action of the previous meeting. Then, if that gets its 9 votes, then it would be, as you said, the board could then decide to try something else or just not do anything at all. But the one thing that has to happen first is to see whether a motion to rescind passes.
So I was going to have you read it first, but I'll ask for the motion. So for procedural reasons, Member Ferber, you're the one who requested it. Do you want to make the motion? Oh, you got to take the microphone.
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we revote.
And that's the motion to rescind, correct?
Rescind, yes.
Okay. Does that motion have a second?
Second.
Member Fox, okay. Motion is made by Furberg. I'm still hearing disruptive comments from board members who have not been recognized, and I'm asking that they stop because I can hear it and I assume the microphone can also hear it. So motion's been made by Furberg and seconded by Fox. Member Moylan, would you like to read the resolution? Yes.
Point of order. This motion should not be about the underlying substance of the original resolution. This is simply about whether there should be a revote because you have separated. We're taking two possible votes here, and this is what you have on the agenda. And the first one is only about whether a person who misunderstood, it's about the specific instances of why we should revote because of this one person. Now, of course, this one person should explain why she thinks we should revote, but this is not the point at which we should get into the underlying substance of the resolution itself. That is what the second vote is for. You see, you have it split here between a motion to rescind, and then if the above motion to rescind passed, then all members present will be given the opportunity to cast new votes on that resolution from last month. So these are two separate votes.
Yes. So long story short, there was discussion between myself, Member Furberg, and also Member Moylan about what the proper procedure is. Essentially, this is the way that we just decided to do it. First, we're going to have the vote to decide whether there's going to be a reconsideration, and then if there is going to be reconsideration, then we will do the reconsideration.
Yes, but now is not the time to have Member Moylan reread the resolution because that means that that means that the rereading of the resolution is relevant to the first vote, which it is not. And if Member Moylan reads that, then we'll have everyone discuss this.
So hold on, you're not recognized. I'll call you one. I'm going to respond to Member Moylan, then I'll call you. Okay.
I have a comment.
So it's been a month. It's been 5 weeks specifically. I want to make sure everyone understands what we're voting on, because when we have the vote to rescind, if that vote fails, the decision stands and there's no opportunity to revote it. So because the first vote is that important, if it doesn't go forward, then it's done. I want to make sure everyone understands the issue and understands what they're voting on. So that's what I'm thinking. But remember, Sophia?
Well, may I just summarize what I think this vote to rescind means, just to be sure everybody understands? I think it means that we're basically vacating the vote from last month on the sidewalk resolution. And if we vote yes to rescind, we mean that we do not want the April vote to count, and then we will proceed to vote again on the same resolution.
That's correct. So I understand Member Fukumoto's position, but like I said, there were 14 opposition testimonies sent in. I see a lot of people here who aren't usually here. I assume they're here to talk about the sidewalk issue, and I want to give them the chance to speak. So I'm going to leave it up to Member Moylan because it's your motion, your resolution. So would you like to read the resolution before we hear from community members or after? It's up to you.
So it was really the committee's resolution, not just mine. As you could tell, there were pieces that many people put together. Not sure. So you want me to read this?
Would you want me to read it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to read the resolution in full so that we understand what's being reconsidered.
So you don't
So-
you don't screen share it, yeah?
Anson, do you have this? Do you have the file? No, we don't have the screen share, so I'm just going to need to read it. So, resolution urging construction of sidewalks in Manoa. Whereas the Manoa Neighborhood Board Number 7 is a citizens advisory board whose purpose is to increase and assure effective citizen participation in the decisions of government. And whereas effective participation includes identifying mechanisms for mitigating city problems, particularly in the neighborhood. And whereas the Oahu pedestrian plan supports installation of sidewalks along major streets and school zones. And whereas the Oahu pedestrian plan also supports complete streets and safe routes to schools. And whereas the Manoa Valley has 3 major streets running uphill from the H1 freeway, Punahou Street, Manoa Road, University Avenue, excuse me, let me start again. Whereas the Manoa Valley has 3 major streets running uphill from the H1 freeway, in parentheses, this is Punahou Street / Manoa Road, University Avenue / Oahu Avenue, and East Manoa Road. And whereas installing sidewalks along each of them is a Tier 1 high priority walkway project, Table 10, and whereas strategy 5.1 of the plan is to provide a high level of pedestrian connectivity, and whereas the cross streets most heavily used by pedestrians connecting between those major streets do not appear on the project list, and whereas cross street Lowry Avenue, which connects Kalawao Street to the Five Corners intersection and is a major pedestrian route to Manoa Elementary School, has no sidewalks from Manoa Stream to the intersection. And whereas another connecting route between major streets, Cooper Road, between Manoa Road and Oahu Avenue, and Ha'alelena Place - Kahavai Street - Huapala Street between Oahu Avenue and East Manoa Road also has no sidewalks. And whereas the Federal Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act of 2021 provides 80% funding for infrastructure projects for 5 years so that such projects can be subsidized for the near future. And therefore be it resolved, and this part was amended at last meeting, so I'm reading the amended version. Therefore be it resolved that the city and county of Honolulu devote more resources to sidewalk installations so that existing Tier 1 projects are carried out, and that installation of sidewalks on cross streets in Manoa, especially Lowry Avenue, be added to the project list and funded, with the understanding that the requested Lowry Avenue sidewalks should only be placed on a single side of Lowry, and with the additional understanding that such sidewalks be constructed without cutting down any trees on Lowry. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be transmitted to each member of the City Council. So that's the reading of the resolution as amended from last meeting. We have the motion to rescind the vote. Before we take the vote, we're open to discussion. So please raise your hand if you want to, Member Sofio and then Member Fukumoto.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm sitting there because I can't hear. I have some comments on the motion to rescind. Basically, many extenuating circumstances at last month's meeting contributed to a newly minted board member becoming confused and voting in a way that she soon realized was not an informed vote, and that her vote had not reflected her opinion or her intent, and actually texted another board member immediately after the meeting conveying her distress. She had only been confirmed as a new board member minutes before the vote. She had not had the opportunity to actually look at and read the resolution. Acoustics during the meeting were very challenging. 2 complex amendments were introduced, and one was voted on just prior to the vote on the resolution, causing more confusion. Community response as word of this resolution has slowly gotten out into the potentially affected neighborhoods has been overwhelmingly in opposition to sidewalks, with many people either perplexed as to why this was suggested or openly upset by the idea. It would be grossly unfair to both the new member who was not given adequate preparation and who made an honest and understandable mistake, and to the potentially affected community to let the April vote stand, since the erroneous vote was the deciding vote. For these compelling reasons, the April vote on this resolution should clearly be rescinded or vacated. I will vote yes as a result to rescind. Thank you.
If people want to speak, they can come to the microphone. You want to come to the microphone? Okay, Member Fukumoto.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'll be voting yes on this vote because not only for the not only for the reasons already expressed, but because this member's vote was the deciding vote because it was 9. You need 9 affirmative votes to pass this resolution, and every member's vote counts. Her vote really, she intended to vote no, and that would have meant that the resolution failed. So for those 2 reasons, number one, the unique circumstances of her being a new member, not understanding what this is all about, and because she was in essence the deciding vote, I'm voting in favor of rescinding the resolution. Thank you.
All right, any further comments or discussion? I see some people online. Noel G.
I would love to know what kind of procedurally allows you guys to rescind a decision that's already been made by the board. This is not a new issue. This is very clear language. And if someone is joining the neighborhood board, you would think that they would sort of understand how to vote, and I don't think it's okay for you guys to then kind of come back the next month or kind of what stops you from doing that in future times too. So understandable that someone was new and got confused, but maybe they shouldn't have voted or not been on the board at that time. So I really do not agree with this decision to overturn this, and I would love to kind of understand the precedents.
Okay. Any further comments, Member Fox?
Noel, I understand your concern, but what's really good, I think, about community meetings is we can change our minds from time to time. We received testimony from very credible people, 2 people particularly that I admire greatly, and their logic was quite astounding, and their passion was quite clear. And it made me rethink my vote too, because sometimes we're in this little chamber, this little goldfish bowl, and we think we have all the pieces of the puzzle together. I think the best thing about neighborhood boards is that we can reconsider things once in a while and say, wait a minute, I didn't think about that. So I'll be voting yes to move forward so I can vote no on the resolution again. I voted yes on the resolution. I was on the committee even. And I just hadn't taken into consideration all these wonderful comments that my good friends have sent me. So yeah, I think that's the joy of having a democratic society, is that we get to vote again when we're wrong.
Member Moylan?
Yes, and another partial answer to that question that just came up. It would be bad if every time anybody passes a motion, someone who voted no says, well, we have to come back and vote on it again because I didn't win last time.
It's ridiculous.
And that would be truly ridiculous. What happens in Robert's rules is, for something like this, it normally requires a 2/3 vote to undo what you previously did, unless you give all this advance notice. And that's what happened here, is the chair was notified early that he felt there was sufficient advance notice, and then it only requires a majority vote. And, well, as defined by our charter, which says 9 votes, not a majority. That's how it can get done, tonight. But in general, you're right. There's always people on the losing side of a vote who'd like to just keep voting over until they win. I used to serve on a city council with a guy like that, and he kept bringing stuff up over and over. It's like, Dave, you lost.
But we need clarity. Is this written in the charter that you guys can do this, or are you just kind of making this up as you're going?
So
because of this situation.
Anson, do you want to answer this? I'm giving the microphone to the city staff person so he can give you the.
We just follow Robert's rules, and I'm not someone who knows about the law that much. So we're just following Robert's rules, and yes, in that a board member can rescind their vote, but not.
Mr. Chair. To reassure the citizen, I should say that as soon as the chair told me about this, I pulled out my 2 different copies of Robert's Rules and Sturgis, and I went in and I found the section about what it takes to rescind a motion. So I guarantee you he's not making it up as he goes along. And, normally it would take a 2/3 vote, but with sufficient advance notice, like there is tonight, you can do it. Also, normally it requires that it can be reconsidered only by a person who was in the majority, which in this case is true. So that particular criterion would be met too. So you're right, it should not be something that gets done all the time. It's very unusual. I don't even support it in this case, but it's perfectly legitimate the way it's being done.
All right. Any further comments from anyone in person? If so, please raise your hand. Going once, going twice. All right. Is there anyone with a raised hand online? All right. Seeing and hearing no raised hands, I'm gonna have Anson do the roll call vote in a second. Just to make it very clear, just so there's no confusion, I'm going to repeat again what the vote is on. So this is whether we're going to reconsider or rescind our vote from April. So if you want to rescind or reconsider the vote from April, vote yes. 9 people must vote yes for the rescinding or the reconsideration to happen. If you do not want to reconsider our decision from April, then vote no or abstain. Anson, please do the roll call.
Okay, when I call your name, please say yes, no, or abstain. Okay, Zane?
Abstain.
Okay, Watson?
Yes.
Okay, Bozo? Oh, she's not here. Okay, Nagaji?
Yes.
Okay, Fukumoto? He said yes. Okay. Fields?
And when it comes online later this year, valuable for those
Fields?
It instantly changes the game into AI markets and AI investors.
Fields, you're online. I see that.
Increase in America by 306. That means
Someone we can hear you. Is that yes or no? Or abstain?
Abstain. Destination for anyone calls it a scientific instrument.
Whoever's mic is catching the background noise, please mute yourself.
One company insider calls it the first dedicated AI factory to fund.
Okay, Fields?
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay. Okay, Lee? You're muted.
Yes.
Okay, yes on the vote. Okay. Goff?
Yes.
I've been invested since 1980.
Okay, Chong?
No.
Oh. Okay, Moylan? Okay, Sophia?
Most money managers complain screen having a success.
Guano?
The New York Times called me Mike.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Why? Well, I worked with Amazon in 2000. NVIDIA.
Okay. Yes on her. Okay. Fox? He said yes. Okay. Carter?
Yes.
Okay. And Freiberg? Okay. That's 10 yes, 2 no's, and 2 abstain. The motion passes.
Okay, so the motion to rescind has passed, so we're now reconsidering the vote. I talked to Anson beforehand to make make clear what the procedure is. Essentially, the entire vote from last time is thrown out. So we're starting from scratch again, and we're going to need to do a roll call vote on that. Before we do the roll call vote, I'm going to open it up for further discussion on the merits of the resolution. So anyone who wants to talk, please raise your hand. You can go up to the microphone if you're in person. Member Scipio?
Potentially affected neighborhoods and the people who frequent them only begin to find out about the push for sidewalks on their streets 1 to 2 days prior to the deadline to submit testimony in a possible revote. The overwhelming majority immediately expressed opposition. This is a red flag for backwards process on the Mānoa Neighborhood Board. The agenda, the proactive committee for sidewalks, including on Lowry Avenue, the originally targeted street, was not the result of community initiative, much less community consensus. In many testimonies provided to the board early this week, residents have expressed an abundance of concerns, ranging from worry about the inevitable tragic removals of magnificent old trees, increases in ambient temperature of neighborhoods due to the loss of shade and heat island effects of concrete, as well as greatly increased risk of serious injury to anyone who falls on concrete compared to soft grass. Kahawaii, Halalena, Oahu, Cooper, and Lowry are all historic, beautiful tree-lined streets with lush green walkways and beautiful landscaping, providing a sense of peace and refuge from the concrete urban environment. Sidewalks on these roads will literally pave the way for increased traffic and development such as Aria Lane and Mānoa Banyan Court. The board has already passed resolutions against both. These peaceful, beautiful streets give joy to Valley residents who traverse them daily on foot, as well as to visitors who come to enjoy Manoa's unique ambience. These historic byways should be protected and preserved, not adulterated with cement. I will vote no on the sidewalk resolution.
You wanted to, Moylan? So I'm sorry, Member Moylan has corrected me procedurally. I assume that the motion, the second from last time, rolled over. Apparently didn't. So Member Moylan, do you want to make the motion officially?
I would only make a motion if I thought there was any point. I mean, are there members who just voted for the rescind who would then turn around and vote for this resolution again? Besides, member
I mean,
Chalmers?
that's what the testimony is for. That's why we're here.
Yeah, usually you have testimony once a motion's on the floor. Right now, there's no motion on the floor. So then the question is, does someone want to make a motion for the exact same resolution?
Okay. I asked Member Moylan, do you want to make a motion? I guess I'll ask everyone. Does anyone want to make a motion to adopt or approve the resolution regarding sidewalks? Is there a motion? Member Chong? And is there a second to the motion? Okay, so for the record, Member Chong has made the motion and Member Moylan has seconded. Okay, so now we can proceed with the procedure and do the discussion. So, okay, please raise your hand. I'll go to the order I saw them in. Zane, Chong, Fukumoto.
Thank you, Chair. Just for the record, Member Sofio's comments earlier that were out of order are included in the testimonies for the bill or the resolution that's currently in front of us, correct? What?
Everything Member Sophia, you mean everything she said before the motion happened?
Yes, that's
yes. So
that was about I wrote into it. Good.
Yeah,
Just want to make sure that's on the record to make sure that what she just said is on the record. Now.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quickly though, if you look at on the last line on the back of the resolution that's been handed to us, on the last line before the last paragraph, it does say that it is without cutting down any trees on Lowry. So I don't see why Member Sophia made that point about cutting down trees when the resolution tried to preserve the trees. Just pointing that out there. Also, understand the community concerns regarding that. In the past, we've had discussions on this issue where sidewalks have come up as a way to keep members of the community safe or either walking or using their automated wheelchairs up actual roads. That's something to consider for a future discussion, perhaps maybe consideration on expanding Lowry, considering that there's a lot of parked cars on one side, which makes us have to wait on one side for other traffic to go through back and forth. We've all experienced that driving situation where we have to wait for oncoming traffic or wait for other people. That makes the parked cars turn Lowry into a one-lane road almost. Just for future discussion. That's more my take on this particular issue here.
Going to member Chong.
This thing is not about aesthetics of Manoa, having it pretty. It's more about sidewalks to help the people who have their handicap, like they are in a wheelchair or they are in walkers, or people who have strollers. This is about giving them a place to be secure, protected away from the cars. This is not about aesthetics. The sidewalks is to protect people.
Going on member Fukumoto.
Thank you, Chair. I voted for this resolution last time. I'm going to vote against it this time. I've heard from the public, and therefore, in the ancient language of Roman Catholicism, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. In modern lingo, my bad. So I will be shifting my vote. We've heard from the community. The vast majority of people in the community do not want sidewalks. And I think we are here to reflect the community. And as far as the safety concerns, if a person is walking in the street, that is against the law, because when you walk in the street, when you push a stroller, when you're in a wheelchair and you do that on the street, you are creating a traffic hazard. So if you are in a wheelchair, I suggest you call for a handy van. If you want to go to Mānoa Marketplace, all you have to do is call for a handy van. It's free, and they'll take you there. And if you are a person with a child in a stroller, I suggest you don't endanger the people who are, I don't think you should endanger your child. Once again, it's against the law, and you are breaking the law because you are creating a traffic hazard. I suggest that you drive your car to Mānoa Marketplace and then take out the stroller, and you can get some exercise in Mānoa Marketplace. But don't make this about a safety issue when the people who are in the street are breaking the law. Thank you.
So I'm going to go to people who haven't spoken yet, and then I'll come back around. So member Watson and then member Moylan.
Thank you, Chair. We board members on Manoa Neighborhood Board are here to facilitate and help the community. We have the pulse of our community, of the residents. I don't know if you folks do it, but I certainly talk to residents. I talk to people on Lowry. I talk to people on Oahu Avenue, and they don't want sidewalks in their community. So I don't think that a committee of this board, basically two guys, should be meeting and come up with the idea for whether it's a roundabout or sidewalks or anything else and impose it on the community. I think that the Proactive Solutions Committee needs to be researching proactive solutions for the issues the community raises, like flooding, like stream maintenance, like no albesia trees in the Alawai watershed, like no development, like no commercial tourism development, open green spaces, and single family residences. And that's what overwhelmingly always for years the Manoa community values, and they honored us by electing us to the board to serve them and to serve their interests. And I think that that is exactly what we should do. So I will vote no on this because our community doesn't want sidewalks. Even if a couple of people think it's a good idea, they don't want it. So our job is to represent them. And I would encourage board members to represent them. Thank you.
Okay. Going to member Moylan, then any community members who aren't on the board who want to speak. Member Moylan, please go ahead.
Well, thanks, Member Watson, for trying to explain to me what my job is. But I think I actually understand my own job better than she does. With regard to the people that the city policy encouraging this is about, in particular, is the safe routes to schools. All those kids who have to walk up Lowry to go to that school. It's dangerous for them. But you know, none of those kids get to show up at a meeting or send a bunch of emails or recruit their friends to send a bunch of emails. They're just in a bit of danger. And the city is saying we should all be trying to make things safer for them. None of those kids are saying, I don't care, all change is bad, and I am opposed to all change. No, they're just trying to get to their school without getting run over. And that's one of the major reasons why the city is encouraging us to try to do something like this. So, you know, to pretend that one person has pulled a sufficient fraction of the neighborhood to know what everyone wants, that's very presumptuous. One thing we can say about the city policy, that's been worked on by hundreds of people. And so where we can and where it would help the community, we should try to help further the city's policies, including safe routes to schools and complete streets, which are good ideas and have been implemented in many, many other places, including places with far fewer sidewalks than ours.
Calling on non-board members, so we'll come back. Noel G on Zoom, please go ahead.
I literally cannot believe what I'm hearing from you guys, and I don't know what echo chamber you're talking to your neighbors in, but it's not a representative that I hear in my community from new moms. To suggest that I should be loading my twin babies in my car. I just got in an accident by UH Manoa. I brought that up earlier, which is highly unsafe in itself to be driving a car. You can look at the statistics compared to walking on a sidewalk. To suggest that I should be loading my twin babies from a mile from Manoa Marketplace so I can then drive to Manoa Marketplace and walk around with them, unload them in the parking lot so I can like meander around. Like, it doesn't make any sense. None of what you all are saying have made any factual sense. Environmentally, obviously, concrete is not as permeable. It does add some heat to the environment, but that's why you plant trees. If you take one down, the lucky thing about trees is that they regrow. You can plant them where you want them. You can plant mature trees that then grow within a few years, right? There are all these steps around. You all, I don't want to get too dramatic here, but this is negligence. To vote no against this is negligence. We've been aware of how dangerous this situation is. It only takes your eyes to see people walking in unsafe situations because the sidewalk suddenly ends with their kid and their dog to understand that and have empathy that this is a very unsafe situation and it is going to end in a fatality. It is going to end in a fatality or a horrific injury. And unfortunately, that is something that you guys will all have to live with yourselves with if you vote no on this. If you would like a subsection of the community come out further, I am happy to collect those people and make a big noise about this because this is shocking to hear from people who claim to care about our community. I will say anecdotally, you think sidewalks are not safe because you can trip on them and fall and scrape your knee. We're all tripping and falling on the roots that are on Oahu Avenue anyway. My mom sprained her ankle there when I was young. I've been living in this community since I was born. So this is ridiculous. I honestly cannot believe this. Member Chong, I appreciate you so much for what you've been saying. Accessibility is key. We will not stop fighting for this. And yeah, this is a very, very shocking meeting here. I really, really hope you all reconsider.
Okay, so before we continue and call in some people again, I'm just going to note there's certain expectations of civility and decorum here. And multiple people who've spoken so far are either breaking decorum or coming very close to it. I'm not going to call anyone out specifically because then I'll need to call all of you out. So we're just going to proceed. But for the rest of this discussion, please keep it civil. Don't make any personal attacks on anyone. This is a publicly recorded meeting. This goes on TV. It goes on YouTube. People can see this stuff 50 years from now. So just keep it civil, please. Is there any community members in person who want to speak? If not, we're going to go back to board members who have their hands back up. Okay. Sophia, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my name is Ed Chung. I don't know too much about the sidewalk. I was just informed by a board member let me know that there was a meeting tonight. As far as the sidewalks, it's nice to have. And then we got to think, do we need to have it? Now, one person says a lot of people don't want sidewalks. Somebody else says we need sidewalks. Why don't you do a survey and have the survey by Safeway? People would come in, ask them, and they would sign. The reason I say that, because many years ago, Hawaiian Electric wanted to put a cable across the valley. And we had Mary Cook, I think Linda was there also. They did a survey, and I think somebody donated $100,000 to Malama Mānoa. We fought Hawaiian Electric, and we won. There's no cable going across. So do the survey and have people, they go to Safeway all the time, and you can have them sign, are you for it? Or are you against it? My second thing I wanted to talk about it, why are we spending money on a sidewalk when we haven't mitigated the overflow in that stream? Why are we building a sidewalk when we haven't mitigated up by the Chinese graveyard when all the floods are coming down? You saw all the cars going down the street. My daughter on Pamoa Road, her car was flooded also. My son-in-law, they've been living up by Lower Mānoa Road, right by the graveyard, and he's been cleaning in the graveyard, the drain, for 26 years. The city has not come in and done anything. Now, is it plausible? We had 3 weeks of flooding. If the cars can come down, is it plausible that the graveyard be saturated, the caskets come up and floating down Lower Mānoa Road? Would you be concerned? Thank you.
Hector.
As a Manoa resident for the last 60 years, what I'd like to suggest is an inventory of the owners of the property to see if they would like to have that. In other words, you're going to be using part of their land. You're going to be spending money, and who's going to pay for it? Are they going to pay for it? So it's an expenditure. But if they don't, do they want that in front of the yard? Check.
Thank you, Mr. Venegas. Do we have any other community members before we? Oh, I see Heath from Councilman Nishimoto's office. Please go ahead.
Sorry, the gentleman that just came up speaking about the storm drain. I was wondering if he could contact our office. Could we give him my email address, or could he actually talk to his daughter who has my email address regarding the location of the storm drain that he was speaking of? I was actually trying to get a hold of him about it.
Okay. You can also text it to Anson, and he's gonna yeah. If you put in the chat, if you text him to the meeting chat, Anson's gonna write it down and give it to him on paper.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll do.
All right, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, concerning the storm drain, I think we tried to contact Scott Nishimoto. I tried contacting his office, and so far, nobody has come down to check the storm drain.
Okay, hey, sorry,
Hi.
sir, I'm from Scott Nishimoto's office. So I'm gonna give you my email address. So if you guys could email me directly, or I could also email your daughter because I've been speaking with her about the other storm drain or the ditch.
In fact, I have two daughters, one on Lower Road and one on Mānoa. And the city, this is important. The city took over the road in 2024. It was a private road. The city took it over in 2024. And they said that they only own the drain under the road. On the other side of the road, it's private. And on this side, it's private. And then it flows into state property. So it comes from state property, Noilani, it goes into a private ditch, then it goes into a city and county ditch, then it flows into a private ditch, and it goes into a state runoff to UH. And when we talked to the city, they said, I don't know who owns the ditch. You don't know who owned the ditch? I mean, we own only underneath here. Then, so I told my son-in-law, well, we'll sue the state and sue the city.
So Anthony is going to give you the contact info for the councilman's office. You can follow up with him outside of the meeting, but we're on time crunch, so we have to discuss the sidewalk issue specifically.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, sir. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any more raised hands from community members, so I'm going to go back to board members. I'm going to go down the line. So Member Sofio, you're first.
Yes, I just wanted to correct something that Robert, Member Zane said earlier, because the resolution doesn't only refer to Lowry Avenue, it also refers to Oahu Avenue, Kahavai Street, Halalena, and Cooper. And there are I walked that area just recently, and there are numerous big, beautiful, magnificent old trees that would definitely be affected if sidewalks were put in, because the roots extend to near the road. And then the second thing is, I think I'm not aware of any safety issue as a mother and possible future grandmother for children to walk on grass, wide swaths of grass walkway instead of hard cement sidewalk. I don't see why that's a safety issue.
Okay, sorry, could you all raise your hands again if you want to speak again? Member Chong?
This is not about cost or anything like that. It's about the safety of the pedestrians. I have photographs of people on a wheelchair walking a dog, but she can't go on the grass because her wheelchair won't go over there. I have a photograph of a mom on a stroller strolling down Lowry Avenue because there is no sidewalk. It's not about cost. It's not about aesthetics. It's about the safety of the pedestrians that we need to have on, especially on Lowry Avenue, because there's a lot of cars that go down there because it's the only street in Mānoa that goes from one end of the valley to the other side of the valley. It's the only street that goes straight across. And that's the one that I am talking about. There is a need for sidewalks.
Member Zane, and then Member Ferber.
Thank you, Chair. So the whereas clause that Member Sophia was referring to is just stating a fact that those streets don't have sidewalks. Now, actually, I would, if I noticed this earlier and thought more considering at the time last month, I would have asked to remove that whereas because it serves no purpose since the majority of the resolution focuses solely on Lowry Avenue. The therefore be it resolved clause, which actually would ask the city and county to do something, concerns only Lowry Avenue, doesn't touch the other streets involved over here, Cooper Road, Halalena Place, Kahavai Street. None of that is actually touched in the therefore be it resolved section of the resolution. Just wanted to make that clear for everybody who's also listening as well. And again, I just wanted to point out that, again, the resolution does state at the end of the therefore be it resolved that it would be asking the city and county to devote more resources to sidewalk installation. And also, when the only on Lowry Avenue sidewalk should only be placed on a single side, and with the additional understanding that such a sidewalk would be constructed without cutting down any trees on Lowry. The trees would be protected based on the language of the resolution that was passed at the previous meeting. I'm just stating that out to make the record clear for everybody. And again, this is a matter that's been brought up several times. It hasn't had any traction. If it was maybe made in a way that was more about looking into the study, as other people, so members of the community have pointed out, that's also an option as well. But it is true that it is still a safety issue for individuals who have wheelchairs or motorized wheels. They can't go onto the grass areas because of the constant rain. It gets muddy. Have you tried pushing a wheelchair or driving a motorized wheelchair on areas that aren't ramped or also on have mud trying to get through there? That's tough. I'm just saying that out there and passing it along.
And Wayland, did you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to respond to that by offering an amendment
Go ahead.
to the penultimate paragraph to deal with this ambiguity and just say, with the understanding that any new sidewalks will be constructed only on a single side of the street and be constructed without cutting down any trees.
Okay, so you would change it from.
Well, no, in other words, taking out the Lowry thing. Remember, Sophia was pointing out that that last paragraph seemed to apply only to Lowry, which is why there was a concern that if we got a sidewalk on another connecting heavily traveled area, that they would put it on both sides of the street or cut down trees. And I think the intent of this was to put a sidewalk only on one side of any street and not to cut down any trees. So if we made that amendment, that would clean that uncertainty up. You want to second the amendment? Okay.
Okay.
So no, Member Chong seconded that amendment.
Okay. So can you say it again for us, the exact wording of the amendment?
The exact wording. Okay. Starting with, okay. Therefore, be it resolved that the city and county of Honolulu devote more resources to sidewalk installation so that existing tier 1 projects are carried out, and that installation of sidewalks on cross streets in Manoa, especially Lowry Avenue, be added to the project list and funded, with the understanding that any new sidewalks should be constructed only on one side of a street and without cutting down any trees. So taking out the Lowry
So
parts of the.
instead of applying that disclaimer to Lowry, applying it to all of the sidewalks, that they be on one side and not cut down any trees. Okay. Is there any objection to that amendment?
I would like to ask that the amendment also take all the other streets out so that it only addresses one side of Lowry.
Is that amendment going to happen?
That friendly amendment is not accepted.
Okay. So we're going to just go quick. So Member Welling gave the amendments to make a disclaimer instead of Lowry having only one side of the street and no trees. It's now all the sidewalks that would be added would be only on one side of the street and not have trees. So Anson, let's do a quick roll call vote and then get back to the main motion.
So Chair, to be clear, this is still opening the door to sidewalks on Kahavai, Halalena, Cooper, and Oahu, where none of the
So
residents
Member
that
Sofio,
have been
Member
cut-
Sofio, we need to move because we're running out of time. So we're going to do the roll call
the
vote.
residents don't want sidewalks.
And you can voice that after we do this amendment. So Anson, do the roll call vote.
Okay. When I call your name, please say yes, no, or abstain regarding the amendments said by Christopher Moylan. Zane?
Aye.
Okay. Wildson?
No.
Often involving
Bozo?
rarely involving consumption.
Nagaji?
Yes.
Okay. Fukumoto? Okay. Fields?
Yes.
Lee? This is not voting. This is just changing the resolution. You're muted. I can't hear you. You're muted. I'll mute. Press the space.
Yes.
Okay. Goff,
UNESCO protected.
Yes.
Chong,
Yes.
Moylan, Sophia. Okay, Kawano.
Yes.
Okay. Fox. Okay. Carter.
Yes.
Okay. Freiberg. Okay, that's 9 yes and 5 no. The motion is adopted.
Sorry, this member Mishrecky on as well. Sorry, I vote yes as well. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
sorry. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay.
No worries.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that's 10 now.
Okay, so the motion now clarifies basically that on any sidewalk that gets added, it'll only be on one side of the street and will not remove any trees. So I'm going to go on to member Freiberg.
Just wanted to add that I have walked in Mānoa since I was 19 years old. And then I had 6 children, and I walked my 6 children through Mānoa for many years. And we never had any safety problems. I do understand the wheelchair issue, but I would not add all the sidewalks just for that one issue. Thank you.
Okay. Any other members of the community? I see a person on Zoom. Who is it? All right, I'm gonna call Noel G, and then unless there's any other community members, I'm gonna call myself.
How
and then I'm gonna
about,
call.
how about calling the vote?
Let's let Noel speak because she's had her hand up for a
Noel
while.
has spoken quite a bit.
She calls for the vote. If you call for the vote, that's it. I call for the vote. I second it if she needs a second.
That's
I mean,
fine.
Point of order, there's no such thing as call for the vote. You can make motion to end debate, and that requires a 2/3 vote.
Okay. I had comments that I was going to add, but it sounds like the desire is to end the vote or is to end debate. So we're ending debate, and I'm going to ask Anson for a roll call vote.
When I call your name, this is for the resolution with the amendments that was talked about earlier ago.
I'm sorry, what are we voting on?
We are voting on the resolution right now, the resolution as a whole, whether to approve the resolution as a whole.
We're voting on whether we want sidewalks, yes, or do not want sidewalks, no, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so a no vote means you don't want sidewalks. Okay.
Okay. I'm hearing extraneous comments. Anson, just do the roll call vote and move us forward.
When I call your name, please say yes or
Can
abstain.
we see the resolution projected as we are voting on it?
So I don't believe Anson has
No.
access to the file. Anson, do you have access to? Anson does not have access to the file.
Life here, especially when it comes to understanding Armenian data.
So Anson only has an outdated version of the resolution. He doesn't have the current up-to-date version. We've discussed it a lot. I think we all understand what the motion is about. If you like the resolution to put more sidewalks in Mānoa, vote yes. If you don't like it, vote no or abstain.
Any dating gurus.
Anson, do the roll call vote, please.
Traditional.
Okay. Please say yes or abstain. Zane?
Let's address
Aye.
that in the room.
Okay,
Armenian.
Watson?
No.
Not in the manufactured
Hey,
instrument.
Bozo? No, she's like Nagaji?
Genetics.
Okay. Fukumoto?
Values taking care of yourself.
Fields?
Over artificial stat.
Give us a like and
Beauty here feels natural and confident rather than desperate and high maintenance.
What's all the background noise? I can't.
Armenian women are educated, ambitious, and absolutely not looking for some foreign guy to rescue them from their
Anson,
terrible.
please mute the member.
I'm trying to mute it.
Hello.
Okay.
Whoever has their speaker on, mute it.
It's Lee. Okay. Fields?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Lee? Lee?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, Cough.
No.
Okay then. Chong.
Yes.
Okay then. Moylan. Okay, Sophia.
No.
Okay, Guano.
Yes.
Okay, Fox. Okay, Mashreki.
Yes.
Okay, Carter.
No.
Okay, Freiberg.
No.
Okay. That is 7 yes, 8 no, and 0 abstentions.
Yes, so there's 7 yes votes, 8 no votes. That means the resolution does not pass. Okay, so we went and we reconsidered the motion and decided to not adopt or approve the resolution. So moving on from that, we're going to go through our remaining agenda items that we skipped over earlier. We're going to get through as much as we can before meeting ends. Community updates. Any updates on Mānoa Banning Court? If so, just raise your hand. No Banning Court, anyone? Hearing and seeing none. Going to Aria Lane. Any updates on Aria Lane? Hearing and seeing none. Moving on. Going to Alawai flood mitigation. Any updates? I'm hearing no from Member Fukumoto. Moving on. The UH Eva property feasibility study. Any updates on the place that the UH Lab School is built on? Hearing and seeing none. We're moving on. Going to board business. There's a presentation. We had scheduled item C on board business, presentation on Hawaii's environmental review process. That was canceled because we got so much testimony regarding the sidewalk issue that I told Tom Meissen to just come back next month because we're not going to have time to get to his presentation. So that's canceled or postponed. Approval of the Wednesday, March 4th, 2026 meeting minutes. We have a motion to approve those minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second to the motion?
I second it.
I heard cough first, so cough.
Yeah.
So Watson motions, cough seconds. Is there any discussion regarding the March 4th, 2026 meeting minutes? Member Fukumoto.
Just a minor correction. Heath Williams, it's Williams with an S at the end, so just correct those. So I just want to say, Anson, that these minutes were really detailed, and I really appreciate, I applaud you for doing these minutes in such a detailed fashion. Well, it doesn't matter. Thank you.
Any further discussion on, Anson, do you want to? Okay, any more discussion on the March 4th meeting minutes? Hearing, seeing none. Is there any opposition to passing the March 4th, 2026 meeting minutes? Hearing and seeing none, it passes by acclamation with any stylistic non-substantive votes that are necessary for corrections. Going to item E, approval of the April 1st, 2026 meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the April minutes?
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, Watson moves, Cough seconds. And Anson, you have something you want to tell us?
Oh yeah, I'm just some resident gave me some corrections. It's just minor corrections, yeah. Yeah, they're not substantive. They're just minor, so it's fine.
Okay. Any further discussion on the April 1st minutes? If not, is there any objection to passing the April 1st minutes with non-substantive fixes and technical amendments by Anson? Hearing, seeing none, it passes by acclamation with those non-substantive amendments, if any are necessary. Community concerns, how much time do we have, Anson, before we drop dead?
Supposed to be 8:45.
Okay, we have some time. We have until 8:45 is our drop dead time, so we have time for 8:40. Laura Ruby, please go ahead.
Yes, I don't know if, can I share something? I'm not quite sure how I drag to share. I can drag a whole, maybe that's not the way to do it. I don't quite know how to share. And
Are you able to click the share button on your screen?
I clicked the share button, and well, how do I get it to actually share?
So it should have popped up on your screen. Are you able to click anything?
I'm clicking what it is. I have both the document and where it's in my list of things.
So you emailed me a few days ago. It's my understanding you want to share a draft resolution with us. Do you want to just read it for us?
Yeah,
Point of
yes.
order, Mr. Chair.
Well-
It's 5 minutes until the end of the meeting.
Well, what I'd like to do is just give you the highlights, and I did put in the chat my
One moment. Sorry, one moment. Let me just address what Member Rosine said. So according to Anson, we have till 8:40, so we have time. So, Laura, please proceed.
Okay, I guess we don't know how to share unless somebody tells me how to make it work. I try to.
Yeah, just read it for us.
Okay, and I don't actually feel like I need to read it. I'd like to show you the pictures, which would be great. Basically, what I'm wanting you to consider is before the times in which we had all of the controversy of a giant size bridge across the canal with none of our input or none of our discussion to go on, an open discussion by the community members would have actually allowed us to think further. And this is one idea I've had that I wanted to bring up, and it doesn't mean that the DTS will take it on, but it's a good idea to have, namely be a ferry across the canal, small, it's like the size of a bus, and all of the things that would go on with a ferry would be that it would use the same mechanism that the holo card does. It would have one driver just like the bus does. It would have on and off the ferry just like bus, basically with ramps going up and down for ADA compliance and everything. There would be one dock on one side already there and another small dock put on the other side, and pedestrians and bicycles will cross. This, of course, would keep out the mopeds that our people were talking about tonight off of the ferry going across. And it would be something that should somebody be wanting to walk down there and walk across, they could. And it would be a minimum amount of vagrancy or possible criminal activity to be going across it also. And I'm modifying what I was going to say, but just imagine the bus and imagine the front and back have docks just like the bus has, which the ramps open up when a person wants to get in and out, and that would be one side, and then it would go to the other side and open up, and it would go back and forth. Basically, it would conform to what the transportation already exists as a bus, but it would be the ferry. Anyway, I won't go on longer than that because my time is short, but I'd like you to consider it, and I do have it, and I can send it to you if you'll just pick up my email and lrabi@hawaii.edu, and I'll send it to you. And if we could have a discussion next month, that would be great. How does it benefit Manoa? Because the selling point that was done was that Manoa residents would benefit, UH students would benefit, because then they could ride across a giant bridge to their work or their destination play spot on the beach. Whereas this will do the same thing. You can ride or you can walk, but it will be done largely for the community, not for some other purposes that were not determined by a giant bridge.
All right, and I think Elmer left the building, but you have my email. You can email me. I can forward it to Elmer.
Okay.
Okay, any other community concerns before we close out? Yes, in the back.
Aloha, ahi kako. Maybe I should have brought this up earlier. Johnny, neighbor Johnny, John Quincy Adams, Upper Manoa Valley, since off and on since 1959, when I was 5 years old. My ohana moved from Kailua to Upper Manoa, and I walked with the safety vest because halfway between here and Upper Manoa, no sidewalks, so I don't want, safety first. But anyway, I should have brought this up earlier in regards to Manoa street maintenance. So I looked it up. Properties along Manoa Stream in Honolulu are a mix of private residential ownership and in some areas government ownership. Residents often face flood risk requiring special flood insurance. Private owners are responsible for maintaining the portion of the stream passing through their property to manage flood risk, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, it's my understanding most of these residents that have houses on both sides of the stream, the property line is down the middle, and they're responsible for maintaining the clearing. I understand if there's huge logs coming down from the mountain during flash flood times, you know, neighbors are not equipped to handle that kind of stuff. And my concern is somebody mentioned dredging earlier on the topic. Well, you know, we have native species. Well, we should still have native species in the stream. They used to be when I was a kid playing around here. Oopu, the goby, opai, the shrimp, hi'ivai, the snail. And then, of course, we have introduced species, you know, carp, tilapia, crayfish, you know, bass, from my understanding. But anyway, so that's my concern. Of course, human safety and lives and homes and cars, I guess, take priority over everything, you know. But I just wanted to mention that when somebody mentioned dredging, you know, things can be done with chainsaws and cane knives, and Malamo Manoa has a cleanup, I think, coming up shortly, a stream cleanup, like through the publicly owned areas like city and county park and stuff. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. Mahalo nui loa.
Yep,
Do you
go
know
ahead.
if the requirement
So members of the, talking to the mic so we can hear you.
I'm trying.
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just wondering if the requirement for residents living adjacent to maintain the stream, does that also apply to the Woodlawn ditch where it's cemented in?
Yeah, you know, that's an excellent question. I'm not an expert in the area. I just recall. Do I have an alarm? Time's up. I just recall in the past that you know, property owners own to the middle of the stream. You know, except there's other areas like Manoa Park and stuff, et cetera. And of course, back up in the valley is you know, way past residential areas is like, I imagine state forestry, state you know, I know Waikiakua stream side is Catholic Church and Board of Water Supply, and you know, but I don't think we got to worry about that. That's all Mother Nature. It's coming down here that people are concerned about their homes and the school here, you know, and whatnot, and vehicles. And I realize that takes precedence over everything else, safety first. But when I heard dredging, it was a concern with native species. Mahalo nui loa.
All right, thank you. Any final community concerns before we go to announcements and close out? Linda LeGrand, please go ahead.
Aloha, I'm Linda LeGrand, and I know this is such a controversial thing. I mean, we have so many people with so many needs, so I think we want to go and serve as many people as possible. As far as the safety thing, I get that. I mean, you know, I've had kids and had to push them around in strollers, but we do have big areas of our valley that have sidewalks. Woodlawn, both sides, from here up. Lot of the right behind Mānoa School has tons of sidewalks. So I think we want to balance the aesthetics and the safety and the environmental concerns of laying cement. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing was, I think we've all dealt with the city. They're not, you know, if the amendment says they're not going to take down any trees, well, city hasn't always done what they've said, and they're going to get in there and they're going to try to pour their cement. And they're going to realize, geez, we got to get this tree out of here because it's so much easier to put the cement down. So I just don't think that's going to be a very valid point in the amendment. Thank you.
All right. Any final community concerns before we? Oh, I see one from Laura Ruby. Is that the last one? If so, we'll do Laura Ruby and then we'll head out. You're muted. We can't hear you. Laura, you're muted. You got to unmute yourself. You're still muted. Okay. It looks like she's out of commission. So seeing and hearing no more community concerns, we'll do announcements. So our next meeting, the next regular board meeting is scheduled on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. We're not in recess in June, correct? Yeah, we're not. June is not our recess month. We are meeting next month in June. It'll be same time, same place, 6:30 p.m. in person, Lonnie Elementary School cafeteria, as well as online via WebEx. If anyone has agenda and requests, they can email me, preferably a week or preferably 2 weeks or so before the in advance of the next meeting. And lastly, you can watch Mānoa neighborhood board meetings on Olelo Channel 49, televised on the fourth Saturday every month at 3 p.m. Link is on the agenda, or on YouTube, and likewise the link for YouTube is on the agenda. Any final announcements before we close out? All right, seeing and hearing none, we are adjourned. See you all next month.